Hey, welcome back to Heroes and Videos, where we talk about comic books, we talk about videos and movies and films, but mostly about comic books. Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. Well, actually, it's going to end in about 12 or 13 minutes today, if I can stick to the script, or at least to the program, because I'm kind of flying without a net here. We're going to talk about some old comics today. Bought some old comics not too long ago at the local comic shop. It's a pretty Spider-Man heavy show today. I've got a little bit of Titans in here, and stick around to the end because I've got found a really cool DR.STRANGE gem that's written by Stan Lee and has art. It's not Steve Ditko art. It's not quite that far back, but it's some really trippy art that very much reminded me of Ditko, and so I'm going to be showing off some of that. And we'll be winding up with what I think might happen in the upcoming Spider-Man 1000, or Amazing Spider-Man 1000, or at least what I'd like to see happen, if that makes sense. But stick around to the end. You will find out what I mean by that. Would love for you to hit subscribe if you want to keep following the channel. Hit like if you want to wait to the end, see if you like it or not. That works for me. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. First up is I got another copy of what was my favorite comic book of last year, and that's Titans Annual. I guess it's technically Titans Annual 2025, because as we'll talk about in an upcoming Spider-Man video, they keep renumbering these annuals, and honestly, it's a little confusing, people. So this is Titans Annual. This is the Donna Troy story, basically, and it's just beautiful. It's written and drawn by I want to say it's Phil Jimenez, and it's I believe it's the same Jimenez who followed who followed George Perez on the Titans book. There's a lot of dialogue in this book. It's very beautiful. It basically tells the story. Did a recent story with look at that Princess Diana there. Did a recent video where we talked about the new Absolute Wonder Woman and some of the beautiful drawings in that, or pictures in that, of Wonder Woman. There's some really beautiful shots in here too. This covers a lot of territory in Donna's youth. I don't know if you all remember the Who was Donna Troy. I think it was New Teen Titans 38. I'm guessing. I'm going from memory, which was a great book that kind of covered the mini origins or the backgrounds, try to make some sense of Donna Troy or Wonder Girl. Here's another great shot there. Of the New Teen Titans. This book is just really good. You'll laugh, you'll cry. It's got all the hits. If you're a fan of the Titans at all through the years, you would love this. And again, just beautiful artwork in this. It's just really love it. Great book. I gave my daughter my copy, so because she's a huge Titans fan, so I picked up this one for me. So Titans Annual #1. It's not expensive. It's out there. I'm sure you can find it as a back issue, and it's a really good read. If you like Titans at all, check it out. Now, almost didn't want to let you know about this one because I know Frank Robbins can be a little triggering for some folks. Found this Invaders #9. I had an Invaders collection at some point back in my youth, but no longer have it. At least according to CLZ, I don't have any issues. So I picked up this one. It's Baron Blood. It's one of those Kirby covers when Kirby came back to Marvel, so I don't consider it in his top 10, if you will. It is Frank Robbins does the inside. Vince Colletta does the inks. So there's that. I didn't like Frank Robbins when I was a kid, when it was first coming out, like when he followed Sal Buscema on Captain America and during Englehart's run. I was like, what is this? I've since come to appreciate it. The guy is a craftsman, and his art works really, really well with the World War II era stuff, because that's kind of what his drawings are very much like the Terry and the Pirates kind of stuff from back in the day. So that was Invaders #9. Now we're getting into the Spider-Man stuff. Not going to spend too much time on these next few because they've kind of been beaten to death. The Spider-Man, adjectiveless Spider-Man, though that's adjectiveless. It's adjectiveless no more. Feels like a Stan Lee title, right? Adjectiveless no more. Because as soon as I put the adjectiveless moniker on there, I'm giving it an adjective. Anyway, grammar lesson over. Spider-Man #1. This is that silver cover. This is when McFarlane, and I don't see the, doesn't he have a little Felix the Cat on all these things somewhere? Anyway, I don't see it on that. Maybe he's in the book. But this is McFarlane, one of the variant covers. When that book came out, it was all the rage at the time. Some of the shine's kind of fallen off of that run for me at this point. Next up, Amazing Spider-Man 290. Not a lot of color on this cover. Peter Parker asked the big question. A lot of rumors going on about what'll happen around Amazing Spider-Man 1000. We're going to talk about that at the end of the show. No spoilers, because honestly, I don't know what's going to be in that book. But I found this and picked it up. I have it in my collection, but I thought, hey, you know what? It wasn't much. And it's a somewhat of a landmark issue. Though if you read into or look into what was going on in Marvel at the time, it sounds like it was a knee-jerk reaction to Lois and Clark over at the Distinguished Competition. And it was just kind of rushed to get them married. Semi-spoilers coming up for 30 seconds. Earmuffs, kids. If you don't want to know anything about Ultimate Spider-Man's resolution or the last issue of that book, here we go. Spoilers. You kind of get the scene you wish we got in that storyline many years ago, back in the late 80s, early 90s. Like the proposal, how you might wish it would have been done. Spoilers over. So welcome back. I know that wasn't much of a spoiler. Next up, I didn't have the last issue of this book, or not the last issue. This was the one issue I'm missing, book 2. Spider-Man Blue with Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. Honestly, I have not gone through and read this book, but I've picked it up. I didn't buy it at the time. It's some really cool stuff. It kind of, the Tim Sale stuff when he's looking like, it's kind of like Frank Miller before Miller became current Miller. Is that what I'm looking for in terms of what I'm trying to say here? I do want to point out, I do want to show you a couple of pages in here. That's great. The rhino showing up there is just something. I love the art in this book. Obviously, it takes place in an era when Gwen Stacy is alive, as you can see by the cover. The page that really kind of blew my mind at the end is honestly almost, Tim Sale's artwork is just so beautiful. It's almost as cool as the original. Hey, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot. Oh, not the Kevin Smith ad there, but Mary Jane showing up. That's that seminal moment. They're kind of retelling the story with some blanks filled in. But Spider-Man Blue, I'm looking forward to now reading that whole series now that I have the last issue. Coming up here, we got some Marvel team-ups. A huge fan of Marvel team-up. We're getting ready. It's getting ready to be Morbin time, folks. If you weren't ready for that, this is Morbius in Marvel team-up #3, Spider-Man the Human Torch. This is the 3rd issue in a row of this book where Spider-Man and the Human Torch were both, it was after this issue that it goes to being Spider-Man and another hero. So I think initially maybe the idea was to have it be a Spider-Man and Human Torch book all the time, but at some point I guess Marvel decided to try some other stuff. The cool thing is this book is written by Jerry Conway and drawn by Ross Andru, who were doing, I have to look. I'm not sure Ross was doing the Amazing Spider-Man title. I'm looking in here to see if there's a house ad or something that gives me an idea of what Amazing Spider-Man book was out at the time. Sometimes they do those bullpen pages. I don't see it in here. But it's really cool because for me, Ross Andru was the Spider guy because he's the one that was doing it when I started reading the book. That page right there, not the getting sand kicked in your face. I don't know if you guys love those ads, those old ads, but don't be half a man. That's the Charles Atlas ad where over on the side there, guy's getting sand kicked in his face. He goes and works out, and then he punches that bully right in the mouth. Never mind, it's assault and battery. And our scrawny little fella at the beginning of that cartoon is probably going to jail. But that Ross Andrew page, I mean, check that out. Bear with me somehow. We're having a few technical difficulties. There we go. So that page, there we go. That page, that Spider-Man swinging is just like right out of my childhood. Those first issues of Amazing Spider-Man that I picked up in the 130s, I guess. The other thing I'll say about that, Ross Andrew, I love you, but please don't draw the Thing. That is not the Ben Grimm that I remember. There's just, yeah, I don't know. Ben's face, the rocks are okay, but Ben's face, not feeling it. What's interesting to me about this book, from a Morbius standpoint, is that he actually has powers in this that he doesn't have in any other issue. It basically, he can turn people into vampires, and like, you know, they serve him just like Dracula does, which is weird. I get that Marvel was kind of finding their way with him. This is Morbius's third appearance after Amazing Spider-Man 101 and 102. I want to say Stan was still writing the book then, so Stan created him, but it seems like Jerry Conway in that issue went a little old school vampire lore with it. So, but I don't think the character ever displays those powers again. So it's kind of weird. It's like Namor's electricity or whatever back in that Fantastic Four number 5, or 6, I guess. So next up, and that's why he's on the shelf over here behind me, is Marvel Team Up number 5 with Spider-Man and the Vision. Haven't got these guys rebagged yet, so bear with me. Gil Kane, as you can tell, probably from the Monstroids pose on the cover there and the Vision. That's Gil Kane doing that cover art. And sure enough, he does the interior of the book. So kind of cool that they're using the Amazing Spider-Man team, because Gil Kane was doing a lot of the art post Romita Sr. Gil Kane was doing a lot of the art on Spider-Man. Jerry Conway, I guess I should say, was doing the script on the ASM book. So it's kind of cool that they were using the same creative team, or a lot of the same folks from the same creative team. So it's just really cool. One scene in here that really jumped out at me, this is back when, this would be around the time, I really should have done the math on when these were taking place compared to Amazing Spider-Man. This is the time where Pete and Harry are sharing an apartment. Oh, here we go. So, when that last issue came out, number 3, Amazing Spider-Man 112 was out. So it was around 110, 112. So before Ross Andrew was doing the book. So interesting. And here's 114. Oh, never mind. You guys aren't going to be able to read that. Some of the books that were out at the same time as this Marvel team-up. Number 5 was Amazing Spider-Man 114, Captain America and Falcon 155. So they were right in the middle of that great run with the 50s Captain America, and Jack Monroe was Nomad. Or excuse me, I guess he was the Bucky from the 50s at that point. Fantastic Four 128. Those are some of the books that were out. What else is jumping out at me here? Avengers 105. So just those were the books that were out at the time this came out. But so at that point, Amazing Spider-Man 114, Harry Osborn and Peter Parker were sharing an apartment. And I just think it's hilarious in this book. You know, it's never really addressed. The Vision collapses here early on in the book, and Spider-Man takes him to their apartment. He checks to make sure that Harry's asleep, and then Vision's in there passed out on the couch, which feels weird. And they're talking. He wakes up, you know, they're talking. Vision mentions there's stuff going on in Avengers that he can't deal with it right now, which I think it's around when the Sentinels had kidnapped the Scarlet Witch or something. I think, you know, he was having some issues with realizing, you know, he loved Scarlet Witch, and Pietro was being, you know, Quicksilver about it. And so Vision says he can't go to the Avengers, but they're literally having a conversation in and you know, it's old school Marvel, so everything's most of it's got exclamation points. So, you know, the way everybody spoke then. But Vision and Spider-Man are having this conversation basically in the living room, and then, you know, at Peter Parker's apartment, and then he starts to realize, there we go, towards the end of it, he's like, oh wait, I think I heard Harry moving around, so they have to leave. But it just feels like crazy, wacky, Silver Age sort of Marvel stuff, to where, you know, he literally brings the Vision home, and he's in costume, and just hopes he doesn't wake up his roommate, Harry Osborn, who's in the other room. I just thought that was wacky. Anyway, sorry, I knew I said 12 or 13 minutes, and we're getting a little long, so I'm going to wrap this up. Here's the Doctor Strange I was talking about. Marvel Premiere number 3. This starring Doctor Strange. This book is just beautiful. Stan Lee wrote it. Barry Windsor-Smith, back when you'll notice on the cover, he's simply Barry Smith. Barry Windsor-Smith drew it. It's so beautiful. It's, let me see if I can, the panels are much smaller than I would like, but a lot of this stuff is just so wacky and so bizarre. It really reminds me of Steve Ditko. And yeah, it's Barry Windsor-Smith when he's doing like his Conan thing, so everybody's sweaty, you know, or at least got the beads going on. But there's so many cool concepts and just beautiful art in this thing. Let me see, the second issue had Frank Brunner doing some of the art. Nope, that's not the case on this one. This is Dan Atkins, who's a great inker, was doing this. But it's big stakes because Stan's writing it. Some of it's really creepy. A lot of it's just really trippy. And the one over here behind me is Jerry Conway is writing it at that point. That one's also got Barry Windsor-Smith. That's number 4. But it's got Frank Brunner doing the art too. So just a super cool pickup. Marvel Premiere number 3. Now, finally, Amazing Spider-Man 1000. Let's get to it. Here's what I hope they do. I hope they do what they did in Amazing Spider-Man 100. Not the 6-arm thing, or Amazing Spider-Man 150. Or this last book that I just picked up, an additional copy of, Amazing Spider-Man 500. So this book is one of those books that basically walks you through. And honestly, I think it's some type of weird memory in this induced by Doctor Strange. I just flipped through it. haven't reread it in its entirety, where all of his heroes, all of his villains show up all throughout his life. So everybody's maybe expecting life-shattering, you know, though I'd love for Mary Jane and Pete to get back together. But though Ray, his current paramour, if you will, and look it up, kids and grandkids, I would love to see them back together. A lot of folks are expecting some kind of huge, change of status quo, and maybe that's what's going to happen. I don't know. They have said that something big will be going on. I think the writer mentioned that. But I enjoy these anniversary issues. I loved 100. I loved 150. I like this issue. I love the issues where it's just like, you know what, let's just touch base on all the different villains that Spider-Man's faced, like his biggest challenges and villains over the years, and it's okay to just relive that and you know, give it a run. I mean, like it was. I loved it as a kid. I love it now. It's like, you know, there's no major angst or anything. Somebody doesn't have to die. Somebody doesn't have to come back from the dead. But it's just a nice greatest hits. That's a good way to put it. Like a greatest hits of, hey, let's just check out the, you know, let's take a run back through the old rogues gallery of villains there. So that's kind of my hope and my wish for what we'll see in Amazing Spider-Man 1000. But I don't know. What do you think is going to happen in Amazing Spider-Man 1000? What do you hope happens? What do you want to see? What don't you want to see? Let me know in the comments. Sorry, I've got to stop telling you guys this is going to be a short video and then run long, but that's how it is. That's where we are today. So let me know what you think about Spider-Man. I'm going to have a video coming up with bringing everybody up to speed on what's been going on in the storylines recently. DCKO, in our next episode, we're going to be wrapping that up, talking about, was the DCKO ending just okay? So we'll leave you on a cliffhanger today. How about that? As always, keep reading comics, keep going to see movies in theaters, and be kind to each other.